The question becomes, have we achieved the dream? And the reality is absolutely not.
At De La Salle, there's a lot of racism, students writing profanities or derogatory terms on the stalls, not being aware of what racism can do to people.
When I hear all men, I hear all people. Everyone are created equal.
Well, the problem is social media. And it's like, no, the problem is police violence.
And the way we understand the history of racism in this country is that it's not only just an interpersonal phenomenon, but we recognize it as a systemic one, a sociological one, a historical one.
In 1776, America declared that all men are created equal, but nearly 250 years later, the meaning of that promise is still being questioned, not in history books, but in real lives.
And I just always remember there was this distinct difference that I noticed coming from Detroit public schools. I mean, our books were older, the classrooms were older, the schools were older. And I went to the suburbs and went to Bloomfield Hills Public Schools, which is a wealthier, predominantly white school district. And like we had brand new textbooks, the cafeteria, they were serving like the best food, like hamburgers, pizza. And it was just like two different worlds.
Equality doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? It happens in relationship and in how we demonstrate the sharing of resources, right? Or power, or sort of that's the political lens is how we distribute resources, and are we distributing them fairly?
Seeing the difference between the level of investment that goes into students that attend a school like Detroit Public School, like a Detroit Public School versus a more well-funded school, there's enough money to fix these issues. You know, we don't live in a poor country. We live in a country that can spend $1 trillion a year on its military budget.
Funding matters, but inequality is also shaped by representation and by what schools choose to teach or leave out.
The goal of achieving civil rights is bigger than Martin Luther King. It's bigger than Malcolm X. It's bigger than the 1950s and 60s, which most people associate with the civil rights movement. American history is a struggle to achieve levels of equality for all Americans. And that's especially true after 1865. I think students should know that.
When you hear about transfers, people leaving De La Salle, they're usually African American because we aren't represented. We don't have coaches. We don't have a reason for African American students to stay.
The history of our region especially, even specifically, you can look at houses and deeds here in Royal Oak that have restrictions based on people's religion and race. Give you an example, my dad immigrated to this country. My parents are immigrants. And when my dad came here in the 60s, segregation was real in the South, right? So we're not that far removed from some terrible things, and those things don't go away.
I think it's important that high school students learn that history, that we had a lot of oppression. And the power of learning that history is the effort to try and overcome it.
On introducing H.R. 40, the Commission to Study Reparation Proposals for African Americans Act.
One of the most debated ideas today is H.R. 40, a proposal that calls for studying the lasting impacts of slavery and exploring possible paths towards repair.
I think it's H.R. 40, as you explained, centers on the issue of reparations, but it first calls for a study to be conducted and completed to examine what reparations might look like.
Today, the conversation about equality isn't just historical. It's active in laws, public debate, and community efforts. Communities across the country are organizing marches, rallies, and local initiatives to demand equity in education, housing, and justice.
And when you have compassion for your brother or sister and you learn their story and you see that something isn't equitable, the thing to be seeking unity is to make that right. As you seek to bring unity, there needs to be a level of seeking justice.
Stop caring about what other people think just to help boost confidence, help keep me happier, and caring about what other people think forces you to be in a box, and I don't want to be in a box.
It was founded on the principle that all men are created equal, and that the rights of every man are diminished.
All being created equal means that we have an equal capacity for incredible, beautiful things in the world.
Learning about the United States of America is not learning about an actual end point. Learning about the Founding Fathers and what they were doing was learning about their constant, ongoing debate about what all this means. Like, what does our society mean?
But I would just say when it comes down to equality, that the younger generations are the ones that got to fight for it.
That when we come together, when we rise above our differences, we can come and show an effort that no one can stop.
How do we include more people in a fair and just way? How do we make sure that all men are created equal is experienced by as many people as possible that we can handle?
That we must stay engaged and stay on the battlefield and until truth, justice, freedom, and equality exist for all humankind.